All right, this is the Algebra 2, Unit 2, Lesson 5 video, dealing with graphing linear equations and inequalities. Not a lot new in this lesson. It's actually kind of just really focused on graphing in particular. So I do want to talk about how this ties into one of the previous lessons. But really, you're just being given equations and inequalities, and you're having to graph them and talk about the different parts of the graph. So I'll start by talking about one just like this first one. We went over this in lesson 2, but before you're graphing these functions, you need to change them into slope-intercept form. So just as a reminder, just jump back to our lesson 2 notes. To do slope-intercept form, you need to take the right here, the standard form, and you need to move the x and then divide by the y coefficient to get it into slope-intercept form down here. So I'm telling you, go ahead and look back at lesson 2 for how to do that. It's the same exact process we used then. And once you get down to the slope-intercept form, let me jump back over to the lesson. So that's the first thing you have to do, slope-intercept form. Then it asks for the y-intercept. The y-intercept, we talked about this previously, but the y-intercept is this over here. And the way that it's worded in this part of the lesson is you need to identify what the b value is. The b value is whatever is in this last position in that formula. Remember, the formula is y equals mx plus b. So you need to identify the b value. And so in this case, b would equal -5. I made a mistake on this, as you can see. So -5 would be the b value here. So that's what you would put in the second part. So slope-intercept form, then you find the y-intercept. Then it says first point, let x equal 0. Now this is where I recommend jumping over to the graph. Let's go to the graphing system, and we're going to graph y equals 2/3 x minus 5. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in here. Y equals 2/3 x minus 5. So here's my graph. And when it says let x equal 0, that means I need to find the place on the graph where we have 0, comma, and then blank, whatever that number is. So we're going to jump over here, and we're going to look where the graph crosses 0, comma, and it's -5. Now, you should have known that because we also know that we can also write the y-intercept as a point. So the number you have for the y-intercept should correspond to the number that you have with your point in the first point part of this problem. So these two are very much connected ideas right here. Then all you have to do for second point is see if either of the other points are on the graph. So what I mean by that is I need to go see, like, okay, here I have, let me find an example. There's a point right here, 12,3. So if they were like 12,3, is that one of the points? I would look and see, yeah, 12,3 is one of those points. Or right here, -12, -13, right? Like, so you need to go and see if any of the other points are actually points on the graph. So like if I was like, well, is 12,3 one of those? I would see, oh yeah, it is. It's right there. It crosses right there. Or what about -4, 5? Oh, no, that's not one of those points. So that would not be a good answer, whereas that blue point, 12,3, would be a good answer. So you need to find which of these other points that you didn't use for this question on first point would also be on the graph. That's pretty much it. So it's write it in slope-intercept form. Look back in lesson 2 if you need help with that. Find the y-intercept and also mark the first point as the y-intercept point. Then find another point on the graph from your answer choices and put that in second point. Same thing in number 2. You need to put this in slope-intercept form. You need another example? I've got one right here for you in the notes from lesson 2. So I'm telling you, go back to lesson 2 and check out the notes there. Find the y-intercept, find the point that corresponds with the y-intercept. Remember, those go together. And then find another point that is on the line or in the shaded area. So for this one, it needs to be on the line or in the shaded region. So be careful on that. Whenever you're dealing with the inequalities, you need to find one that's on the line or in the shaded region. Either one will do. And then the last question, what's the correct piecewise definition for the function y equals x plus 5 minus 2? So what you need to do is you need to graph this function. Go over here, y equals, let's go ahead and put this in here. You have a button for absolute value on the Desmos graph. It's right here where it's like a bar with a right there. And so inside of that, I would type x plus 5 minus 2. Oops. Make sure that goes x plus 5 minus 2. So this is the graph. Again, the button for absolute value is right here. And then you type what goes inside that inside of it. So you want to graph this function and then decide which one of these matches. So what I'm going to tell you to do is go ahead and type each one of these in, each pair, y equals x minus 3 and y equals negative x plus 7. Let's go look. Y equals x plus 3. Y equals negative x plus 7 or minus 7. Now, what you're looking, oh no, negative x plus 7. Okay, what you're looking for is the lines that actually match up with what you see here in red. So this purple line does match with what you see in red, but the black line doesn't fit. So answer choice A doesn't work. But we do know, let's see, I messed up typing it anyway. Those definitely don't match. So we know that neither x minus 3 or negative x plus 7 work. So automatically I can eliminate answer choice A and I can eliminate answer choice D. So then I go here and I look at the next one. Do they match? And then you just need to make sure that the part of the graph that is there is this graph matches the correct section of the graph. So is it x plus 3 for x is less than negative 5, meaning the far negative side of the graph, and then above negative 5 would be this graph. And so you just need to decide which part comes first and which part comes second. And so like on that one, x plus 3. And on the second one, negative x minus 7. They match. The black graph is on the lower part, so that would be less than. That's the negative x plus 7. And the greater than section of the graph is the x plus 3 section of the graph. So the purple graph. And so then I know that I'm going to put answer choice C as my answer for that one. So I'll let you do those other two on your own. I went ahead and did number 3 for you. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense that there's not any more of those in the unit. But that's it for lesson 5.